I'm Alice Gibson, and I work at the Willowbrook Library. My elderly neighbor Dorothy Martin asked me to wait for her appliance delivery while she went to her doctor's appointment at 7:22 a.m. sharp. I had my spare key and settled in with coffee to wait. Around 9:30, there was a knock. I opened Dorothy's door to find a guy in a wrinkled blue uniform shirt that said Metro Appliance across the chest. The logo looked crooked, like it had been ironed on wrong. He was maybe mid-30s, average height, with work boots and a clipboard. "Morning, ma'am. I'm Lucas Nelson, here to deliver the washing machine for Dorothy Martin. She's at the doctor, but I'm her neighbor Alice. I can show you where it goes." Lucas walked into the apartment, looking around at Dorothy's belongings instead of toward the laundry area. He picked up a silver picture frame from her coffee table and examined it closely. "Where's the old unit?" I asked. He stared at Dorothy's washing machine for a long moment, then scratched his head. Yeah, so I'll need to disconnect this first." He didn't move toward it or reach for any tools, just stood there like he'd never seen a washing machine before. "Do you need your tools?" I asked. "I don't see a truck outside." "Tools, right?" He patted his pockets but didn't leave to get them. Instead, he wandered into Dorothy's living room, examining her small television closely. His uniform shirt was wrinkled and stained, like he'd been sleeping in it. The Metro Appliance logo was definitely crooked, amateur iron-on work. "What company did you say you were with?" I asked. "Metro Appliance," Lucas repeated, but he was looking at Dorothy's purse on the kitchen counter now. "And where's the new washing machine?" Lucas froze. His eyes went wide like I'd caught him doing something wrong. "Still in the truck. Need to measure first." "With what?" "You don't have any measuring tools. You don't have any tools at all." Lucas's fake smile disappeared. "Look, lady, I know how to do my job." "Do you? Because you've been here 5 minutes examining my neighbor's belongings instead of looking at the appliance you're supposed to replace." "You're asking a lot of questions," he said, stepping closer. "I'm asking normal questions. I think you should leave now." "I don't think so." Lucas reached into his back pocket and pulled out a long, heavy screwdriver. Not for appliance work, but thick enough to do serious damage. "I came here to do a job, and I'm going to do it." The screwdriver wasn't for installing washing machines. His job wasn't appliance delivery. "What do you want?" I backed toward Dorothy's front door. "What do you think?" He gestured around the apartment with the screwdriver. "Old lady lives alone, probably keeps cash around, nice little TV." His eyes went back to Dorothy's purse. "But you had to start asking questions." He stepped forward, raising the screwdriver toward my face. I pressed my back against Dorothy's front door, the metal tip inches from my throat. "People know I'm here," I whispered. "No one's gonna come looking for a delivery guy," Lucas laughed. "And by the time your old lady friend gets back, I'll be long gone." He moved toward Dorothy's purse, and that's when someone knocked sharply on the door behind me. "Alice?" It was Brandon Walker, building maintenance. "Everything okay?" Mrs. Chen called about raised voices. Lucas's face went white. He looked frantically between me and the door, gripping the screwdriver tighter. "Alice?" Brandon knocked again. "I'm coming in." The door handle turned. Brandon had his master key. Lucas bolted toward the kitchen window, climbing through it onto the fire escape. I heard his boots clanging down the metal stairs as Brandon stepped inside. "What the hell was that about?" Brandon asked, seeing my terrified expression. The police found the uniform shirt in a dumpster 2 blocks away, along with a fake ID badge. Metro Appliance had no record of any delivery scheduled for Dorothy Martin. The officer said Lucas was probably watching the building for elderly residents who lived alone, waiting for someone to leave. The stolen uniform was just his way in. When Dorothy got home to find police cars outside, I told her what happened. She thanked me for protecting her apartment, but I knew the truth. I'd let a stranger in stolen clothes into her home because I trusted a piece of clothing more than my instincts. His uniform was wrinkled and stained. The logo was obviously fake. He didn't know how to disconnect a washing machine or have any tools. He was examining her belongings instead of doing any work. Every concrete detail screamed that he didn't belong there. Now, when delivery people come to Dorothy's door, I ask for identification, company phone numbers, and work orders. I call to verify before letting anyone inside, because sometimes the person in the uniform isn't the person you think they are. 6 months ago, something happened during what I thought was a routine appliance delivery that changed how I think about being alone in houses. I'm Hunter Lopez, and I do house sitting for people in my neighborhood. The night this happened, I was staying at the Martins' place on Brandon Street in Village Green while the owner visited his sister in Phoenix. It was precisely 11:47 p.m. when the doorbell rang. Through the front window, I could see a delivery truck parked in the driveway, though I couldn't make out company markings in the darkness. I opened the door to find a woman in her 30s wearing jeans and a polo shirt. She had shoulder-length brown hair and carried a small clipboard. "Sorry to bother you so late," she said. "I'm Brianna Wesley with Replacement Appliance Services. Our truck broke down this afternoon, so we're running emergency deliveries tonight. Insurance replacement for a refrigerator that failed last week." "I'm just house sitting. The owner's out of town." "Perfect timing then. We won't disturb anyone during installation." Brianna looked past me into the house. "Can I check the kitchen setup? Make sure we bring the right connecting hardware tomorrow?" Her explanation sounded reasonable, though the late hour was unusual. I let her in. Brianna walked straight to the kitchen and spent maybe 30 seconds looking at the refrigerator, a newer model that looked fine to me. Then she started opening cabinets under the sink. "What are you looking for?" "Waterline connections, electrical specs." She opened the pantry next, shining a small flashlight around the shelves. "This is going to need some adjustments." She headed toward the basement door. "I need to check the circuit breaker," she said, already turning the handle. "Wait, I don't think you need to go down there for a refrigerator. Modern units draw more power, different startup requirements than older models." Her explanation didn't make sense. I'd helped my dad with appliances. You don't check basement wiring for standard refrigerator replacement. "I should call the homeowner first," I said. "Look, I'm trying to help you here." Brianna's tone shifted, less friendly. "I could come back tomorrow with workmen making noise all day, disrupting your house sitting." "I can't authorize work without permission." "It's not work, it's just looking." Brianna pushed the basement door open despite my objection. 5 minutes? No. I moved to block the doorway. "You need to leave." "I drove all the way out here. I've got a job to do." "What job? There's no refrigerator in your truck, is there?" Brianna stared at me for a long moment. Then she smiled, but it was cold now. "You're smart. Maybe too smart." She moved past me toward the living room, and her whole focus changed. Now she was cataloging valuables: the flat-screen TV, laptop on the coffee table, expensive camera on the bookshelf. "Take whatever you want," I said. "I won't call police until morning." "See, that's the problem." Brianna picked up the camera, examining it. "You've seen me. You can describe me. You know my name." My phone was upstairs. The house phone was in the kitchen, but she was between me and it. I had this planned out quiet, scope tonight, come back tomorrow with a truck, but you had to ask questions. I backed toward the front door, but Brianna moved to cut me off. Before I could react, she grabbed my shoulders and shoved me hard against the wall. My head hit the drywall with a sharp crack, and bright spots flashed across my vision. "Keys," she demanded, her face inches from mine. "Car keys, now." "I don't have them." Brianna's grip tightened on my shoulders, her fingernails digging through my shirt into skin. "Don't lie to me. I saw you looking at the door, thinking about running for it." She pressed her forearm against my throat, cutting off air. "You're going to stay right here while I search this place, and if you try anything stupid, I'll make sure you can't identify anyone ever again." The pressure on my windpipe made black spots dance at the edges of my vision. I could feel her breath on my face, smell stale coffee and cigarettes. "Understand?" she hissed. I nodded as much as I could with her arm across my throat. Brianna released me and I dropped to my knees, gasping. She headed for the stairs, probably looking for my keys so I couldn't escape. Instead, I stumbled toward the kitchen phone. 911, what's your emergency?" "Someone broke into the house I'm watching," I whispered, watching the stairs. "She's still here." I could hear Brianna upstairs, opening drawers, searching my room. Through the kitchen window, I saw her truck. No company markings, just a plain white panel van. "She threatened to kill me," I told the dispatcher. "Brandon Street, Village Green subdivision." By the time police arrived, Brianna was gone. She'd found my car keys and smashed my Honda's windows before leaving. 4 flat tires, broken headlights, spider-webbed windshield. The officer said she'd probably been watching the house, waiting for it to look empty. I spent the rest of the night checking locks and jumping at every sound. The Martins cut their trip short when I called them the next morning. The police never caught her. But I learned real delivery services don't send people out alone at midnight. They don't need to inspect your basement for refrigerator work. And they definitely don't grab you by the throat when you ask reasonable questions. Now when I'm house sitting and someone comes to the door after business hours, I don't care how professional they sound. The conversation happens through the closed door or not at all. Working the pre-dawn food truck shift means you see all kinds of people, but the woman with the clipboard at 4:18 a.m. exact was different. "I'm Dakota Martin, and I've been running my breakfast truck on Davis Way in the Daily Grind business district for 2 years. Up at 3:30 a.m., setting up by 4, serving early shift workers and security guards. It's not glamorous, but I'm my own boss." I was finishing prep when this woman approached. She looked about 40, wearing wrinkled khakis and a button-down shirt, carrying a clipboard and some papers. Her hair was messy like she'd been up all night, and she had this jittery energy. "I'm Olivia Walker," she said, walking right up to my window. "Need to verify the delivery address for this morning's appliance drop." There was no delivery truck anywhere in sight. Just the usual early morning cars and security guards doing building checks. "Which building?" I asked. Wesley Gibson owned most of these buildings and had been friendly to me for 3 years. Olivia shuffled through papers that looked like photocopies of photocopies. That one." She pointed vaguely at Wesley's main office building. "Need someone to sign off on delivery verification." "What kind of appliances?" "Industrial washing units, for building maintenance." She was reading from her clipboard like she was making it up. "Multiple units." The whole thing made no sense. Wesley's building was offices, not apartments. Why industrial washing machines? and her paperwork looked like something printed off the internet titled Delivery Address Verification in basic Microsoft Word formatting. You should talk to Wesley Gibson, the building owner. He'll be in around 8. Can't wait. Truck's loaded, tight schedule. She held out a pen. Just need a quick signature. The form had blank spaces and a confusing liability transfer section that made no sense for address confirmation. I'm not signing anything. I don't work for Wesley. This is company policy for high-value deliveries. Olivia stepped closer to my window, her jittery energy getting more aggressive. You're a business here. You can vouch for the building. No, I can't. And what delivery company works at 4 a.m.? We work around the clock. But she kept glancing around nervously, watching for something. What company? Metro Delivery Services. Never heard of them. Where's your truck? Around the corner. Show me. I don't have time for this, Olivia snapped, dropping her fake friendly act completely. Just sign the damn form. No. I started closing my service window. You need to leave. You're not going anywhere, Olivia snarled, and suddenly she was reaching through my window, grabbing my wrist. Her fingernails dug into my skin like claws. Give me that phone. I jerked back, but she was surprisingly strong. The clipboard fell, and I could see her official forms were just blank papers with nonsense headers. Let go. I twisted away, backing toward the rear of my truck where I kept my phone. Olivia came around fast, moving quicker than I expected. She wasn't here about delivery verification. She was trying to rob me, probably thinking food trucks carried cash. She tackled me against my truck's rear doors. We both hit the asphalt hard, and I tasted blood where I'd bitten my tongue. The impact knocked the wind out of me, sharp pain shooting up my spine from the concrete. Olivia was on top of me, trying to get to my pockets, looking for wallet or keys. Her knee ground into my ribs, and I could feel gravel cutting into my back through my shirt. Where's the cash? She hissed, her hands rough as she searched my clothing. I managed to roll away and scramble up, but she was right behind me. That's when I heard voices approaching from down the block. Hey, what's going on over there? Morning shift security. 3 guards walking toward us, probably wondering why someone was fighting behind the food truck. Olivia took one look at the approaching guards and ran. Not walked, flat out sprinted across Davis Way and disappeared between buildings. The guards helped me up and called police. My back was scraped raw from the asphalt, and my wrist showed deep nail marks where she'd grabbed me. The fake forms were scattered on the ground, just blank papers with made-up headers. The officer said it was a robbery attempt. The early timing made sense. Fewer witnesses, easier escape. The fake paperwork was probably meant to distract me or get me away from my truck. Wesley stopped by when he heard what happened. No delivery was scheduled for any of his buildings, definitely not at 4 a.m. He's arranged for security to check around my truck more often during setup. What bothers me most is how long I stood there talking to her when everything screamed wrong. The weird hours, the obviously fake paperwork, the jittery behavior, no delivery truck. I knew she was lying, but I kept engaging anyway because I wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt. Now, when people approach my truck before dawn with clipboards and official requests, I ask a lot more questions first. Real delivery companies don't need random food truck operators to verify addresses. They don't work at 4 a.m. without proper vehicles. And they definitely don't tackle you when you won't sign their fake forms. Some lessons come with bruises and scars to remind you.